Yeah,
Um,
yeah, no, I'm still like, even despite us figuring out all these technical difficulties, I'm still surprised this even works at all. Did you ever see the movie Rockstar with or The Rocker with Rainn Wilson?
no, not at all.
Okay, well, it's like 12, 13, 14 years old, and they have band practice remotely, and they're all like playing along just on their computers. And I remember at the time being like, all the normies in this movie theater, they all think that this is possible, but this will never be possible. Um, and then I was like, Brock's got the crazy tech. We're gonna be going crazy on it. And then, but you know, naturally we had to kind of pull some weeds first. But now we're chilling. We're cruising.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you got to pull the weeds. You got to let the flowers have some space to grow. So
You really do. That's This is the thing. We're just providing wisdom to the people. Like
that's so
that's
true.
you just gotta let the flowers grow.
Yeah, should I you know, shave some of my hair, grow a big beard, write a book about art, change
Exactly,
my name to
Rick.
Rick Rubin? My first name's Richard. Did you know that? Not many people know that. I'm a Richard
you're
Brock.
you're literally halfway there.
I'm halfway there, man.
Richard Brock is also that's got gravitas too. Like
Well, thanks.
that works. That works.
My dad's a Richard Thomas. My grandpa was just Dick. So
Okay, well, I will say, now that you brought up Rick Rubin, I really appreciate your at least with the one song we've mixed together. From what I understand, Rick Rubin does in this studio. I'm glad you didn't do what he does in the studio. My understanding is that he basically just pulls up and tells everybody to like mute like 70% of the tracks and then turn the remaining tracks up really loud. And I mean, based off the records of his that I've listened to, it sounds like he's pretty much always right. But if someone said that to me after the amount of time I spent EQing all those absurd like tape printed things, like I would be like, nah, I'm out of here. Sorry, Rick, I'm dipping.
yeah, yeah, no, totally. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I this is gonna sound like so much shade to Rick Rubin. Obviously, he's made great records. Obviously, he's like talented and can create things. I think my biggest qualm with him sometimes, since we're talking about it, is just like creating music is spiritual, and it is like you do. Everybody should be able to have access to creating art and that kind of thing, and I totally agree with that. Like the high intellectual whatever bullshit from art is not helpful sometimes, but there is an aspect of like honing your craft and like working hard at something and like doing the effort. And I think Rick even like I'm on a first name basis with Rick Rubin, by the way. I think Rick he downplays that so much in this way that's like nice to hear, but it's just not reality. Like you're right. It would be like absolutely absurd if somebody came into this and was like, you know what? Why don't we just paint it purple and delete everything? And the vibes are better this way and blah blah blah. And it's just like, bro, you don't know how
Yeah,
much
yeah.
time and effort and blood and sweat and tears I've gone through to make this happen. And I think he does. He just like it's more commercially viable to say the things that he says, I think, than like, yeah, you should work hard. There's a great quote from Steve Albini, and I don't know the exact quote. Obviously, Albini is who I worked under, and I even have like some differences in the way I do things than he does, and he probably scoff at some of the things I do, but there's a lot more I think I am in common with him, and he just talks about how like, yeah, anybody can just like tell a vocalist to keep taking a take until they feel good about it, and that's kind of the idea, is like it's not really producing a record if you're just like, yeah, let's just try one more. You know what? Try it like you're upside down. It's like, I don't know. Sometimes that's helpful. most of the time I think it's probably not.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that weirdly just reminds me of some hyper specific feedback that I remember getting from Will Yip once. He's very tuned in to like the singing voice relative to the shape of your mouth, and like
wow.
he would tell me to like try and do things with my cheekbones while saying a word in a way that like made me do something different with my jaw, and it was really like kind of unbelievable. Like I would say that his ability to like match these like syllabic information coming out of my mouth with the relative like shape, and obviously like he probably has like a list of like like just a couple that he knows, like saying like smile brightens it up or something like that.
Totally.
But I was just really blown away with that, because every other experience I had had with like someone producing my vocal was more of that. It was just like, oh, like, well, like, what do you think about it? And it's like, well, I'm horribly insecure about everything. What do you think? What do you think? And they're like, well, it's not my song. And I'm like, literally just tell me like smile and like to wink at the camera, even though he said that once. He was like, wink at the camera even though there's no camera while you're singing this. And I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And then the next take is what's on the record.
Yeah. I mean, that's sick. I love that. I mean, Will is also like, I mean, he's always been, there's a couple engineers that when I was growing up, I was pretty ignorant to like names and things like that, Mm-hmm. But I was absolutely like worshiping records, and then growing, like you grow up, and I started making records myself, and then realizing like, oh, I should know who's created all these records that I'm in love with, and like Albini is one of them. Will Yip is another one that I'm just like, God damn, he can just create some incredible music. So, yeah, I mean that makes sense to me. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I'm psyched that we were able to dunk on Rick Rubin a little bit. I think that
you got to dunk on him. He's got plenty of things going for him.
Yeah, I think he'll probably be fine. Like, but also if he wants to hop on the next live stream, he's welcome. If we could iron this out in real time.
That's so true. And honestly, he's a coward that he's not here right now. I said that. BUYFI did not say that. These are my own.
Listen, I'll call him out. I just moved from California back to the Midwest by choice. I will call Rick Rubin the fuck out. I don't give a fuck.
Hell yeah. Okay, well, today we are going over some mix revisions, yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe we should just listen to the song top down quick.
Cool.
And then we can kind of start diving into the music. Does that sound good?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, sweet. If you want to mute your microphone real quick, I'm going to press play, and then, yeah, here we go.
I reap what I sow. And I'm before, yeah, I put that on my soul. Had to talk with God, let me tell you what he told.
Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. Why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes. Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. That's why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes.
And I'm hopeful for the ways that we break. Hopeful that I live until I'm great. Hopeful.
Cool. Sweet. Still sound like you remember it?
Yeah, it sounds crazy. It sounds so sick.
Hell yeah. Okay. Well, sick. Yeah. What an arrangement. What a track. What a song. You have a featured vocalist on this one, yeah? Tulani?
Yes, Tulani.
Tulani.
Try Tulani. I don't know where he is right now. I texted him the link to hop in the stream, and he was like, dude, it's 2 a.m. where I am right now. I need to get some sleep, but
is that Europe? No, that's past Europe.
Yeah. So Tulani is Kenyan, and he might be in Africa, I suppose. But I was like, that's like kind of a wild text to send, to be like, I'm in a dramatically different time zone with no further context.
Well, amazing. Well, we have him in recorded form right now.
Yeah, and he's just like a Chicago dude. He's been around for a minute. He's been putting out music for a while, and like I sort of just stumbled across his stuff, and we became boys. Like same way, honestly, that that we became friends. I just slid into his DMs, and I was like, yo, let's link up because you do stuff I like. And he's really like an incredible, he's like a perfect example of like what I hope to like what I was like hoping to accomplish by like collaborating with more vocalists, is like he, like, not only can he do something that like I could never do in a million years, but like the way he does it is also just like totally different from like how I would do it if I tried to do it. Like just watching him like kind of stand in front of the mic and like feel out where he's going, it's like it's kind of unreal. Like both times I've worked with him, it's been like 3 or 4 takes of me being like, I wonder if he's even gonna try anything, because he keeps asking me to start over and like sort of does some sounds, and then like takes 5 through 8 are like an almost finished idea. And like that is just so far from how I like process language, even, that it's just like super interesting and inspiring. And he's got like such a wild voice too. Like his verses, like his bars are so aggressive, and like he's got like such tight diction, but it's so emotional, it's so gritty. Like he's crazy.
Yeah, totally. I mean, when I was going through the multi-tracks you sent me and the stems and everything, it's like there's so much going on, but there is like a very like calculated and like you can tell that the idea is thought through, you know, all the way to the end, you know, and everything. Like at first it's like, whoa, there's so much there, and then you start finding everything's spot, and you realize like, wow, this is like, these are the periods to this other idea, and this is the exclamation to this thought, you know, and that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a really sweet song. Really cool. So yeah. Well, amazing. Do you wanna kind of go through some of your thoughts, some of your ideas?
Yeah, definitely. So I suppose like, I forget last time, did we kind of go through like different instruments within like different, you know, say like EQ, like ranges of within the equalizer, work our way through the instruments, or is it kind of like section by section vibe?
Yeah, I'm okay with doing whatever. You know, if you have macro notes or thoughts for the mix, we could mention those, and then maybe as we're going through, like if you have specific things that you want changed, then I can keep that in mind so that we can kind of start adjusting things as we go.
Cool.
But yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
talk to me about how you're feeling about it currently. You know.
Yeah, no, I think it sounds incredible. I'm really hyped on where it's at, and honestly, this is the first time I like the mixes you sent, the rough that you just played. I haven't heard it on these like Sennheisers yet, so I'm pretty hyped on that. I'd been testing it like on my monitors in the car and then in the AirPods, but like this is where I do all my surgical stuff, and it's like, oh, it sounds crazy. But like, yeah, I think the main adjustment that I know I want to start with is just bringing down the I guess I would call it like the wet signal on Tulani's verses, like the
Yeah.
rap, the bars. Um, Not necessarily. I don't know if you added any space or verb or anything to that. Not necessarily that. I'm more specifically thinking like the one that I know I sent you. That's like output portal and thermal, like to the nines pretty intensely. That one I just feel like is possibly maybe not even
Yeah.
necessary at all.
Maybe is it this one we're talking about? I'm gonna solo it up. Cool. So that's the one we're referring to.
Yeah. And
Cool.
I think just I was in my rough. I was liking what it was doing, but I feel like it just what you've kind of brought out of particularly like the basses in this part. It just feels like it's clogging up things at this point. Maybe it could be cool for like quick throws here and there,
Mm.
but I don't it just to me listening back it just isn't adding what it used to, but I don't think anything's really missing. I certainly don't think anything's missing from that section. That section's pretty much
Yeah, I
pretty
did
wacky.
notice when I was going through my second pass of this, because this is our second pass. We're going through version 3 technically, right? I
Yeah.
noticed when I listened to your updated rough, I'm like, oh, that is serving a lot more like a pad rather than like another part. And yeah, that happens sometimes with mixes. I'll give a pass back to somebody and they'll be like, I forgot that was there or whatever. Not that that's what's happening here, but they're like, that's not really what that was serving. So yeah, we can. Yeah, let me. Do you want to see what happens if I try to just mix it in a little bit more, or
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah,
cool?
yeah, definitely. I think that just mainly the the sort of when it really like what really popped to me is when I was listening back to this track on like just on my phone,
Mm.
just playing it through like the iPhone speaker. Like the bass in this section is cutting so well. It sounds like so cool and crazy, and I just think that one, I mean, it's pretty. The bass in itself is pretty like it, chaotic. It like is total ear candy in this part. Um, and also between that and the fact that Tulani is like his vocal is fantastic here and his lyrics are like sick. Like normally if I had a bass this complicated, I feel like normally it would be like just vocal chops over it and I wouldn't be so worried about like the diction, but in this instance, like I just am so in love with like the lyrics that he put on this, that I think as long as that bass is still cutting through, like I don't think maybe we even need hardly any of this.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm gonna try something really quick. Let's see.
Life, death ain't the same. I got feelings in the pain. I got feelings, won't complain. In my heart, I feel. Same, I got feelings in the pain. I got feelings, won't complain. In my heart, I feel the pain. Been and pumping through my veins from the memories you gave. It ain't never been the same since the day you passed away. I just gotta sing the pain, sing and be the way I pray. Freedom used to be my name. Take me from captivity. Be the remedy. Yeah. Life, death ain't the same. I got feelings in the pain. I got feelings, won't complain. In my heart, I feel the pain. Been and pumping through my veins from the memories you gave. It ain't never been the same since the day you passed away. I just gotta sing the pain, sing and be the way I pray. Freedom used to be my name. Take me from captivity. Yeah. Life, death ain't the same. I got feelings in the pain. I got feelings, won't complain. In my heart, I feel the pain. Been and pumping through my veins from the memories you gave. It ain't never been the same since the day you passed away. I just gotta sing the pain, sing and be the way I pray. Freedom used to be my name. Take me from captivity. Yeah. Life, death ain't the same. I got feelings in the pain. I got feelings, won't complain. In my heart, I feel the pain. Been and pumping through my veins from the memories you gave. It ain't never been the same since the day you passed away. I just gotta sing the pain, sing and be the way I pray. Freedom used to be my name. Take me from captivity. Yeah. Life, death ain't the same. I got feelings in the pain. I got feelings, won't complain. In my heart, I feel the pain. Been and pumping through my veins from the memories you gave. It ain't never been the same since the day you passed away. I just gotta sing the pain, sing and be the way I pray. Freedom used to be my. Freedom used to be my name. Take me from captivity. Yeah. Life, death ain't the same. I got feelings in the pain. I got feelings, won't complain. In my heart, I feel the pain. Been and pumping through my veins from the memories you gave. It ain't never been the same since the day you passed away. I just gotta sing the pain, sing and be the way I pray. Freedom used to be my name. Take me from captivity. Yeah.
What do you think about that? I have it kind of like tied to the kick, so it's still kind of popping up around some of that like downbeat stuff, but it's disappearing when those like hits are happening.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. I think that is definitely the move, and then maybe I think it can even just like come down a little more.
Yep. Pull that back just like 2 more decibels. Let's listen to that.
Yeah. Life, death ain't the same. I got feelings in the pain. I got feelings, won't complain. In my heart, I feel the pain. Been and pumping through my veins from the memories you gave. It ain't never been the same since the day you passed away. I just gotta sing the pain, sing and be the way I pray. Freedom used to be my name. Take me from captivity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we listen to it once just with that muted?
Yep, absolutely.
death ain't the same. I got feelings in the pain. I got feelings, won't complain. In my heart, I feel the pain. Been and pumping through my veins from the memories you gave. It ain't never been the same since the day you passed away. I just gotta sing the pain, sing and be the way I pray. Freedom used to be my name. Take me from captivity.
I think that sounds pretty sick still,
Yeah.
like, without it.
It is nice. You get like a little more of the like diction from some of your
Yeah.
right?
What if we brought it in when he kind of like, I guess, goes to halftime, when he switches to like Be the Remedy?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, totally. I will
Like keep it out of the way when he's really like, you know, on it, like with the 16th notes, but when like it's more kind of a like shouted thing, I feel like then they're like spacing it out a little bit is kind of cool.
Totally. Let's try that.
Yeah. Life, death ain't the same. I got feelings in the pain. I got feelings, won't complain. In my heart, I feel the pain. Been and pumping through my veins from the memories you gave. It ain't never been the same since the day you passed away. I just gotta sing the pain, sing and be the way I pray. Freedom used to be my name. Take me from captivity.
I might have been a little like that. Might be a lot less than you were imagining, but I kind of like some of that. I'll play it again.
Life, death ain't the same. I got feelings in the pain. I got feelings, won't complain.
Sorry, I cut you off. What was that?
Yeah, that sounded. No problem. That sounded dope.
Oh yeah, no worries.
And also, my audio
All right, well,
glitched out a little bit.
let's be sure.
In the middle.
Yeah. Life, death ain't the same. I got feelings in the pain. I got feelings, won't complain. In my heart, I feel the pain. Been and pumping through my veins from the memories you gave. It ain't never been the same since the day you passed away. I just gotta sing the pain, sing and be the way I pray. Freedom used to be my name. Take me from captivity.
Yeah, now it's kind of like a riser into the Be the Remedy or whatever that is, right?
Yeah. I think that is. I think that is the bet. That sounded really good to me. And if anything, are you? So is that going to any other reverbs? Do you have anything else?
Do I have anything else on this? Give me 1 second. I'm gonna unfreeze this. I have this. Well, I have this primal tap on it, which isn't a reverb per se, but it's just kind of like a fuzzy widening thing.
Okay, cool.
And then the stereo imager that's bringing it like really far left, right, like out at like, putting it here rather than in front of you. I can bypass everything on it though if you want to hear that.
No. I would say then maybe just like have it not even come up like quite as loud at the end of the riser. Just bring that down a little bit.
Let's check that out.
Cool.
In my heart, I feel the pain. Been and pumping through my veins from the memories you gave. It ain't never been the same since the day you passed away. I just gotta sing the pain, sing and be the way I pray. Freedom used to be my name. Take me from captivity.
Better?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. That's still speaking.
Yeah, I feel like it just it creates some space, but yeah, the original vocal performance, like there's a double there, and the double is like super high energy, and then like the more laid back chill one is just like it's tough. Like I wonder if this is something you encounter a lot as a producer, where it's like his voice is so compelling that it sounds like sick with nothing done to it, but it's also super fun to do stuff to it. So it's like that. It's like everything that he's ever given me. I've done like several, passes through the through like little altar boy and stuff just to make it sound like super wild because it's just so fun.
Yeah, totally. I don't know if this is exactly what you're talking about, but I find myself when I'm mixing, sometimes I'll hear like a guitar solo or a vocal delivery or something like that, and you'll hear like a touch of some effect that they already have kind of baked into it, and then my mind sometimes, if I'm not aware, I'm like, oh, it should have this effect on it, but I'm really just like I'm doubling down on what's already there basically, like there's a little delay throw, now I'm gonna make it a big delay throw or whatever it is, or like, oh, I can hear them like doing some funny stuff with the mouth shape or whatever, maybe I'll play with the formant of their vocal, and it's sometimes it is kind of hard to be like, am I thinking about that, or am I just like reacting to what's already there because it's so cool and fun and addicting, and I'm just like now playing with candy or whatever. So
yeah.
And sometimes
tough,
that's fun
like,
and good, sometimes it's inspiring, sometimes I'm like, oh, I just doubled down on it, and I now have like, I should just leave the cool thing as a cool thing.
Well, yeah, and then some of these plugins these days, I feel like I'm in a casino or something. It's like, it's so fun. They're so fun. It doesn't. I'm not even turning knobs. I'm like moving a cube across a spectrum, and like when I do, it turns beautiful pastel hues and like,
yeah, or you got something that looks like this,
to my vocal,
and you're like, that's so fun. Look at this thing.
Yeah, but that's where the real magic happens.
Yeah, totally. Okay, cool. Well, that makes sense. What else?
I'm really hyped on this section. Can we listen to this one more time? I feel like this section is pretty much good to get locked.
Sweet. Here it comes.
Yeah. Life, death ain't the same. I got feelings in the pain. I got feelings, won't complain. In my heart, I feel the pain. Been and pumping through my veins from the memories you gave. It ain't never been the same since the day you passed away. I just gotta sing the pain, singing be the way I pray. Freedom used to be my name. Take me from captivity. I feel I don't know when I really know.
P.S.
Sick.
My mom texted me. She's watching the live stream, and she says, I can hear the words so much better.
Yes. Nice.
Mom
Nice.
approved.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah, no, I think this part is sounding awesome. And then my only question, I don't feel super confident I can confirm the subby that it's subby enough. But I totally trust your judgment on that. That's the only thing. But this section's really feeling glued to me for sure.
Yeah, I feel like we got a pretty good amount of action going on in the bottom. At least enough to like for it to come through the mastering and still have plenty to make sure that it's like not killing your mastering engineer or anything like that. So
Cool.
I think that's cool. I feel good about it. But once you listen to it in the car, you can tell me if I'm crazy or not.
Cool. Perfect. Okay, then similar note on Tulani's verse at the end. I would say more or less the exact same note, but maybe not as much of a downward adjustment. I feel like there's way less like crazy stuff going on at this part, but also I want to just like hear. I do really want to hear the words as well.
Yes, yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm looking at this. let me look at this. Let's see if we can get a little more clarity here on verse 2. I'm gonna circle it a little bit.
Cool.
All this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah, I put that on my soul. Had to talk with God, let me tell you what he told.
Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. Why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes. Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. That's why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes.
Down, whole food. For the all this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah, I put that on my soul. Had to talk with God, let me tell you what he told.
Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. Why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes. Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. That's why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes.
Down, whole food. For the all this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah, I put that on my soul. Had to talk with God, let me tell you what he told.
Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. Why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes. Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. That's why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes.
Down, whole.
Is that doing anything for you? Oh, I think you're muted.
Ooh, whoop. That was me. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, that sounds really sick. And then, so possibly moving on, but maybe not. There's also a synth pad here that I'm gonna ask you to bring up.
Yep.
And I feel like it's pretty like I already like the stem that you have is already scooped a bit around the vocal, but I feel like bringing that up a bit might help us. I just feel like it might blur out some of that reverb in like a nice way.
Yeah. Totally. This is the synth you're talking about? Cool. Yeah, let's work that in.
Yeah, the vibe, this synth, and then the bass synth, and then the super distorted guitars, which are like not distorted. Well, they are distorted, but they're just like knobs, full tilt, like DI into the Tascam.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
I was just like, let me see how far I can push this idea I'm like weirdly obsessed with, and I was like, it can't be pushed far enough. But like
wow, so that distortion was just from the Tascam pre's, or like running it the tape saturation?
It's it's just like going through there might be like a touch of sweetener on it from Chroma Console.
Hell yeah,
but like
love the Chroma.
but yeah, but minimal on that, and it's just like really just like like input volume maxed, like everything just blasting. And really like my when I was like dialing that tone in, I was like, okay, I'm gonna like, normally I would go, I think I'm like a top up, would you call it a top up like mixer, where I like, where when I'm adding reverb, I usually go from 0 as opposed to go from too much and then bring it back.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Totally.
With this, I was like, let me try. Like normally, when dialing in a guitar tone, I start at like super boring, and I try and stop just shy of like asshole. But this one, I was like, what if I start at like full tilt, like doesn't know how to use equipment, and then like came back down to like, you know, reasonably sane fella, and I just never looked back. So just 10s on all the dials. But anyway, sorry, like this section, that sort of like that guitar on the vibes, or that vibe on the guitars mixed with like that particular pad, I'm really I don't want this to be like super cringy, but this part, and I don't mean the video game, I mean just like the idea, like necromancer style, like cyberpunk band, like band practice for the shitty high school kids in the cyberpunk universe, with like tons of swag in like an ankle length leather trench coat is like the vibe I'm going for in this section. It's so specific, but like once I heard that like sort of floaty, like that Serum M83-ish kind of 80s vibe on there, I just like got such a vivid image, and like the vocals kind of clicked into place as like sort of futuristic. Also, one thing, just to kind of share this little vibe note with you about this track, like we recorded Tulani's first verse last summer, and I just like, you know, I don't want to put words in his mouth or assume anything about the intent of his lyrics, but I just couldn't help but like notice that listening to verse 2 that we did a couple weeks ago versus the one we did last summer, and thinking about like all that has happened in the world since last summer, there's an intensity present and a sort of like, he's a really hopeful, optimistic guy, and you can hear that in the parts he recorded last summer. But you know, like there's so much more just anger and intensity in the new verse, and like it almost puts me in like a separate room. Like we're like in the groovy part, we're kind of like, you know, we're kind of walking through the field, walking through the flowers on our way to the warehouse or whatever, and then we go inside and it's like, fuck, it's the future now, you know?
Yeah. Wow. I do love that. I love that image, and I love that thought, and that is really interesting to hear, because it does feel, it feels connected, but I mean the whole song, you've got it was funny when I was like trying to just make myself markers as I'm mixing this. I think my markers kept changing as I'm like, oh, maybe this is like serving as like a chorus, or maybe this is serving as like a pre-chorus or whatever, you know, and it's like that kind of idea kind of change, and it is kind of, I mean, it's sort of like a recognizable formula if you're thinking about it from like an arrangement standpoint, but I mean, the last song we did too was kind of like this, where it's like you have these ideas, but they show up kind of different. You know, it's like, well, this is a chorus, but it's definitely not the same thing that happened prior, you know? And so with that, I think you've got this like really beautiful sense of like forward motion, you know, rather than like building something in like blocks, you know? Mm-hmm. So that time passing like really makes sense to me, as like a listener and as a mixer. I mean, it's really fun to like work on music like this, because typically what I'm doing is I'm getting like a general balance, and then I mean, if I opened up all my automation, everything's touched, because I'm like writing things as it's going, as things are reacting to, you know, the music, you know, or whatever. But but it's cool to hear that insight too, because it's like, yeah, I definitely sense that there's like a kind of a change that happens after that first verse, you know, throughout the rest of the song, and then it does kind of conclude on like a really like a sunrise or a sunset, you know, like at the end of the song, and in a kind of nice way, which is beautiful too, and probably reflects on who Tulani is. Not trying to, you know, I don't know Tulani, but it sounds like he's a thoughtful and yeah, like you said, optimistic, or trying to be, you know, an optimistic person or whatever. But
yeah. I mean, he's.
I mean, there's a lot that's happened since we started this live stream, I'm sure. You go on the internet.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Well.
yeah. To try and get people to come to this fun indie electronic live stream, I had to hop on Twitter for 5 minutes today, and the amount I learned. Or not learned, who knows if it's but I'm just glad that we're creating a good corner of the internet right now. And but yeah, I think that like one of the things, for better or worse, that like I feel like as a producer, I am I use copy and paste so much, and it's not to save time by any means. It's like it's almost like I feel like I'm trying to think about the songs like from the perspective of like a DJ, where like the different elements of the songs are almost like their own kind of vibe and song. Like I feel like to incorporate guitar into like all this electronic drum production and the bass in the way that I want to, it just can't sit like a rock guitar. It has to like kind of, you know, breathe, and like it has to oscillate in a way, because so much of what's happening in my sessions is synthesis, that like if the guitar energy isn't oscillating, it doesn't lock in. It feels like that lazy DI guitar on top of the house music, you know what I mean? And like that is like I sort of feel like the only way to really, or one of the ways that I do have like, you know, more straight up guitar parts in this. I feel like in this song, like there are like some much more cleaner, straightforward guitars, and then the guitars that are trying to do all that. But really the only way that I can do that in a way that makes sense is to make them kind of flow and like do a lot of like automation on the EQs and stuff and sweeps, and just really like write the parts to be almost like what I might, like how I might do write a cool riff on like on a crazy bass synth, like a bass flip, like before a drop. Like think about writing human hand parts in that way, but like just little splashes and tastes of stuff. It's like it's cool. It's very different from what I do with the guitar in the bands I play in, and I think that is how we land at like what you're pointing to, like why they can feel a little flowy and jammy sometimes. I'm glad that's like translating, because with every one of these songs there's a good chunk of like the middle period of working on it where I'm like fully lost in the sauce, and I'm like, there's 700 sections to this song. You know, but we get here someday.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. Okay, yeah. Well, let me get back to your note that you said. So basically, we want to feather this like pad up around Tulani a little bit more. Cool. Yeah. I'm gonna circle this for a little bit.
I just gave the most straightforward note ever, and it took me a half hour to explain it.
It's art, real. Baby. It's art. Okay, cool.
All this food on my plate came from that gold, and all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah, I put that on my soul. Had to talk with God, let me tell you what he told.
Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. Why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes. Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. That's why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes.
Down, hopeful, for the what I sold, what I sold. Yeah. All this food on my plate came from that gold, and all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah, I put that on my soul. Had to talk with God, let me tell you what he told.
Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. Why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes. Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. That's why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes.
Down, hopeful, for the what I sold, what I sold. Yeah. All this food on my plate came from that gold, and all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never, yeah, I put that on my soul. Had to talk with God, let me tell you what he told.
Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. Why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes. Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. That's why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes.
Down, hopeful, all this food on my plate came from that gold, and all this gold, it came from your boy.
Okay, I'm doing a couple things there. I'm gonna show it to you one more time.
All this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah. I put that on my soul. Had to talk with God. Let me tell you what he told.
Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. Why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes. Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. That's why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes.
Down, whole food for the ways that we break.
Did I overdo it? Or is that feeling cooler?
No, that feels
you're muted,
cool.
sorry. Yeah. You're good. You're good now.
Cool. That feels good. So I forget the sort of chuggy guitars that are there.
Yes. Yeah.
I forget if I did. Do I have like is there like some sweeping happening on these, like with the EQ?
There is not. I don't
Okay.
think so. Well, I mean, unless it's baked into the track. I'm not adding any of that.
Yeah. Can you play that solo real quick?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's just like all just Tascam dirt. I love it. I think that I thought I was asking for a lot more synth. What I was asking for was a little more guitar and a little more synth. So
yeah, totally. Let's
maybe just bringing up guitars is the move, or the synth can also possibly come down a bit.
Let me pull some things just a touch, but let's push some other things. Okay, here we go.
All this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah. I put that on my. All this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah. I put that on my soul. Had to talk with God. Let me tell you what he told.
Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. Why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes. Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. That's why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes.
Down, whole food. All this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah. I put that on my soul. Had to talk with God. Let me tell you what he told.
Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. Why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes. Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. That's why when I land on the ground I'm 10 toes.
Down, whole food for the ways.
Is that cooler?
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think also whatever your if you like your, I don't know, your widest reverb bus that you've got,
Widest?
or just like most
Yeah.
distant or most I feel like the synth could use a little like atmosphere.
Yeah. Totally. Let me see if I can give you something like that. 1 second.
on the ground, I'm 10 toes. Everything I thought I chose, he the one I chose. That's why when I land on the ground, I'm 10 toes.
I don't play, came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. Food on my plate, came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah, I put that on my soul. Had to talk with God, let me tell you what he told.
Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. Why when I land on the ground, I'm 10 toes. Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. That's why when I land on the ground, I'm 10 toes.
Hopeful for the ways that we break. Till I'm great, I'm hopeful. All this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah, I put that on my soul. Had to talk with God, let me tell you what he told.
Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. Why when I land on the ground, I'm 10 toes. Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. That's why when I land on the ground, I'm 10 toes.
Hopeful for the ways that we break.
What do you think about that?
That I am digging that quite a lot.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. Echo Boy, man. You think it's a delay, but it's a lot more than a delay.
It's also sort of interesting too. I was realizing that kind of the way, like if we were at Friends of Friends in Chicago, I would have definitely just been like, can you make that synth a little wetter? But I'm realizing that it's interesting how like the experience of mixing is sort of impacted while I'm like sitting in my own desk and like super in my own comfort zone, because I gave you that note kind of assuming that your session is sort of like mine would be. Like when like if I was gonna space out that synth and also make sure it blended, like I would, find my widest, weirdest bus, but one that is already very much existing, and then just see if it sounds cool there. And like that would always be, but like it's funny, I would never have phrased it like that if we were in your studio. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, I think that is super interesting, and probably a helpful tool, I mean, obviously listening to things in different environments and all that stuff affects the way we experience things, but which is why you finish a whole day of recording in the rough mix, you're like, this is the fucking best thing in the world, this could never sound any better, and then you listen to it 2 weeks later and you're like, it could sound probably better mixed or whatever. Yeah, I think those things really do affect stuff. You hear things in a different way,
Yeah.
Just from your mental state. But yeah. No, I mean, I do have some reverb buses and things like that, but most of my ambience is like all of my effects things. I adjust them a little bit, but and this I can already tell I've adjusted a little for this session, but usually they're like pretty like standard effects that I use if I just want something wetter, but not as specific. And yeah, I've gotten into this like habit of, when I want something highly specific, just throwing it on and then using the mix knob of whatever the plugin is to add or subtract. And people argue all the time like, don't put effects on the song, or the track, use a bus or whatever, and I totally get that, and I do that too. But there are times where it's just easier, quicker, and better just to throw it right on the bus or on the track. So
Yeah, no, that's That's why we have all this processing power.
All the options, yeah. It's 2025. We can live stream from 2 different places and also still mix a song. So
yeah. So it's not illegal to put Echo Boy on the track and on the bus.
It is not.
You hear that, Rick?
Rick would argue he doesn't even know what that is, which he does. Why do you say that? You know what an echo is. All right.
They say that, I feel like divisive content is what blows up. Yeah. So this is,
he's like, I know nothing. I'm like, bro, you know something. Stop saying you know nothing. Why do you need people to think you know nothing?
Also, it did just occur to me that dude has worked with Kanye an enormous amount, so there's no way in a million years that either of us are even capable of coming up with something that would, like, upset him in the slightest.
That's true. I just, like, I didn't know where that sentence was going to go, but immediately my brain is like, what would that feel like to be in a room? Like, say you're the engineer and your producer's Rick Rubin and the artist is Kanye West. I'd be like, this is what I have chosen for my life. I mean, I'd have a lot more money probably, but
Yeah. I'm loving, like, him getting peeved at a couple of guys in Chicago talking very respectful shit, while Kanye has probably texted him 40 insane things in the last half hour. Like, yeah. And they might not have talked in years. I don't know these people, but I'm taking swings. Kanye's bad news, so I'm taking swings. We're firing shots out here.
It's fine. So what you get from the Friends of Friends BUYFI live stream. This is what you pay for.
Exactly. Free 99, which is a Kanye lyric. Anyway, this part I'm super happy with it. There's a little bit of as we go into this section, as we like right on the transition, there's like the note I made is like a swirly chorusy thing. I'm not sure where that's coming from. It's like right as we go, as he like breaks out into the verse.
Yeah, let's we'll identify that real quick. I will. How about this? I will solo up things, and then you can tell me when you hear it. Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's something on one of the guitars. And I think I do know what that is. I think I had a little bit of a fun time with the Primal Tap, so I can.
Well,
if you want.
but here's the thing. I like it, but I think I want it to maybe hard cut and stop sooner than it does.
Yeah, we can totally.
And
do that.
I'm not sure what the beat. I'm sort of like, because it's interesting. It's like as I hear it come in, as soon as I like identify that kind of swirling, there's like a beat that I want it to stop on, and instead it kind of just fades out.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, this was me playing with these buttons. This is another fun toy.
That's good. That's what the buttons are for.
Yeah. All this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy.
So I could drop it right on the next downbeat after it is introduced. That would sound something like. Yeah. missed that a little bit.
What is the what is like the time parameter on that?
Yeah, it's there's a lot going on under the hood. So this unit is it's set to a quarter note, but it's not set to the actual time of the session. It's just kind of roughed in there, and I'm adjusting that time, which is where you get the thing that happens manually. So it's actually not quite attached to anything. And I hit the freeze button. You can see this light up once it, and that's where, you know, here. So that's kind of what it's doing, you know. So if let me do this. Let me solo Tulani's vocals too.
Yeah. All this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never.
Is that kind of making sense a little bit?
So yeah. So is there a way for it? Can we have it like basically? I want it to get I want the effect to end up getting as loud as it gets, just sooner. And that curve feels like it should be steeper, if that makes any sense. So like, is that the automation like throwing it to it?
Yeah, let me think about how I can do that for you.
Or maybe work backwards. Like, I think it should cut on the downbeat
of verse 2.
And I feel like I like the effects that I'm just wondering how much of a print this is versus how much the automation can still be written in. Because I feel like if it cuts there and then like if the rise on that wet signal is like steeper,
yes,
and that could be a bet.
I think I can kind of make that happen, or like make it feel like that's what's happening.
I'm hopeful for that day. We celebrate. Reap what I sow. I reap what I sow. Yeah. All this food on my plate came from that gold. And
I'm on latch mode. Sorry.
I'm hopeful for that day. We celebrate. Reap what I sow. I reap what I sow. Yeah. All this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I'm hopeful for that day. We celebrate. Reap what I sow. I reap what I sow. Yeah. All this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, I'm hopeful for that day. We celebrate. Reap what I sow. I reap what I sow. Yeah. All this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah, I put that on my soul. I'm hopeful for that day. We celebrate. Reap what I sow. I reap what I sow. Yeah. All this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, I'm hopeful for that day. We celebrate. Reap what I sow. I reap what I sow. Yeah. All this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your.
Is that getting closer to kind of what you're thinking, or not really?
Yeah,
okay
no,
it's not really.
It is. Yeah, I feel like it just like I think it's because of the build and like what's happening in the drums, it's just coming off as a little more subtle. But I like it still, and I think it's Yeah, I think I prefer it to how it was. Can we listen to it just like full on one more time?
All this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah, put that on my song.
It's now doing sort of like kind of like a glitchy, you know, instead of
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's I dig it. How's it sounding to you?
It sounds really cool to me. Yeah.
I really like sort of any obviously like the song has a lot of this in it already, but I do like I love like the sort of dynamic push and pull in electronic music, and it's like it's also, in my opinion, like the tropiest part of electronic music, and it's fun to accomplish like risers and drops and stuff with other stuff. Like
Yep.
And you just did that, my friend.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean I think that's the fun too. It's like you know, it's the kind of thing where candy is good because candy is candy, and you just don't fight what's good. I don't know. I mean, you can make it like a goofy and worthless, but there is an aspect of it where it's like we react to something because it's valuable and cool.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
Definitely.
As I eat some Nerds gummy candy.
Listen. I'm not. I don't have any candy on hand. I feel I should have. I've said ear candy so many times, but I do have this fantastic Spindrift. Like such a huge. So much of this project is about like finding sustainable ways to be an artist. And
Yeah.
like if I could get like my Spindrift and seltzer paid for, like that is sustainability. I don't need publishing royalties. I need, cause like you know what I mean? Money to me is like often just seltzer in paper form, and sometimes.
I love that.
So,
That's so sick. I wish we could pay our rent in seltzers, I guess.
Yeah, and if we could cut out the middleman, we could also cut out the tax man. Just give me the seltzer. You know what I'm saying?
So sick. Yeah, you can't take 20% of this seltzer government. What are you going to do with that?
We're fixing the music industry over here for real. Okay, I think then to me it feels natural to like kind of proceed to the outro from here, just because it flows into that nicely.
Yep. What do you got for me there?
I think it's like almost perfect. I would say maybe just a little bit less atmosphere noisiness, just a tiny bit, and a little more of the phone call vocal, but it's really close.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I think there might be like one kind of hanger on at the end, something that I should have muted but didn't.
Perfect. Let me play with this for a sec.
Cool.
Hopeful for the ways that we break. Hopeful that I live until I'm great. Hopeful. Hopeful for the ways that we break. That I live until I'm great. Hopeful. Hopeful for the ways that we break. Hopeful that I live until I'm great. Hopeful for the ways that we break. Hopeful that I live until I'm great. Hopeful.
Is that a little better?
Yeah. Yeah. And then are you hearing the thing, the little straggler at the end there?
I don't know.
I think that like when when Tulani says it's never goodbye, and then it goes to that like slappy throw.
Yep.
I really want basically I want like total silence other than that reflection of the goodbye. Yeah.
Okay.
So anything that is after that is something that I meant to delete or mute and did not.
Probably that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you play that one?
For the ways that we break. Hopeful that I live until I'm great. Hopeful.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. There was some like just noise on one of the vocal tracks. Okay. Cool.
Can I just hear the just like the outro one more time, but from a couple bars? Yeah.
10 toes. Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. That's why when I land on the ground, I'm 10 toes.
Hopeful for the ways that we break. Hopeful that I live until I'm great. Hopeful.
Okay, that reminded me of one thought on Tulani's vocal in the verse that we were working on, but most specifically kind of like right around the I think actually right before that verse starts. Can you play that part just right there?
Yeah. All this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah. I put that on my soul. Had to talk with God. Let me tell you what he told.
Everything I thought
So question about the vocals there. I feel like they are sounding like that vocal sounding a little like cold is not the word I'm looking for. Abrasive, like bright is not exactly the word I'm looking for, but I feel like there's maybe almost like a bit of like bit sampling sound to it. That is definitely there on purpose sometimes because of Little Altar Boy, but I feel like I'm just feeling a little too much of it. But also I am hyper aware that I just haven't listened to the full mix a ton of times on the Sennheisers, and because what I'm hearing sounds a little bit like digital artifacty, I'm wondering if it's like a ghost in the machine somehow of the setup and not what the vocal actually sounds like, because I don't remember, that's not a note I had prior to like the last 20 minutes. So I'm just curious, is that resonating with you at all? Does the vocal sound like
it could be. Let me solo this real quick.
Yeah. All this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah. I put that on my soul. Had a talk with God. Let me tell you what he told. Everything
I mean, I'm definitely hearing like the kind of hyper tune thing just a little, you know, that kind of thing, right?
So this has I gave you like the wet for this too, with like the kind of like the chaotic layer.
Yes.
Similar to, can we just try and bring that down a little bit? I feel like that'll, like, bringing up more of his just more his less produced vocal take, I feel like is going to warm it up a little bit.
Yeah. Let me find that real quick. I think that's right here. See what I can do there.
Yeah. All this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah. I put that on my soul. Had a talk with God. Let me tell you what he told. Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. Wow, when I land on the ground, I'm 10 toes. Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. That's why when I land on the ground, I'm 10 toes. Homie, what I said. Yeah. All this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah. I put that on my soul. Had a talk with God. Let me tell you what he told. Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. Wow, when I land on the ground, I'm 10 toes. Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. That's why when I land on the ground, I'm 10 toes. Homie, what I said. Yeah. All this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah. I put that on my soul. Had a talk with God. Let me tell you what he told. Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. Wow, when I land on the ground, I'm 10 toes. Everything I thought I chose, he the one that chose. That's why when I land on the ground, I'm 10 toes.
Landed right on a delay throw. Whoop. Is that better?
Yeah. That's very sick. And the only part I'll ask if we can double check is like the ad libs as he's coming in, and then really so on like the first two lines, he's like ramping up in dynamic to that kind of like all this, like when he says all this gold, from then on out I think it sounds perfect. Before that I feel like is more like really, especially the ad libs, because he's like kind of out in the open and there's not really there's like the snare fill happening, but there's not, I don't think there's like kick happening there. So I feel like
we want to go more natural on that. Is that what you're saying? Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. Let me figure that out real quick.
Yeah, all this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah. Yeah, all this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah. Yeah, all this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy. I ain't never fall, yeah. Yeah, all this food on my plate came from that gold. And all this gold, it came from your boy.
That's probably cool.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah. Okay, I like that note. That's good. What else you got for me?
All right. Let's see. Okay, so we have hit the 2 verses sections. I guess now I think really from here forward, I think I just have like levels stuff. So maybe we can like just start from the top and just talk about a few balance things, but that's I think all I have left.
Sweet. Yeah, I love that. Let's do it. Do you want to listen to each section, or do you want to?
Yeah, can we just start from the top?
Yep, here it comes.
I reap what I sow, I reap what I sow. And I'm
For let me make that window a little bigger. Cool.
I can zoom in a little more if that's helpful.
No, you're good. I just had the mixer open still. So intro, PC 1 and chorus 1. The note is like I want guitars to come up. In the intro, there's so actually this is a question too, like that the intro, the kind of the more arpeggiated like kind of guitar part. When I was looking back through the stems, I know I sent you a double of that, but are those like super different volumes?
Yes.
Okay, those were not supposed to be bounced like that. I'm not sure why they...
the intro pair?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they came in... I think I probably tried to... Let's see what I did there. Yeah, I tried to, like... Sometimes Pro Tools does a thing, too, if you name something right and left. Even if you bounce it as 2 mono, when you import it, it'll bounce it as a stereo, or it'll put it down as a stereo track. I don't know if that's what happened here.
No, I think I just sent you like just a double, like not meant to be. Like I think one of them just got cranked on the way out, and I didn't notice. And so what ended up happening is I think that part is a little high. So if you could kind of balance that pair by bringing the louder one down, and then the reverse guitar that's happening there, I forget what I named it.
Yeah, the
Yeah. Can that one come up a little bit?
Definitely. So is that closer?
Yeah,
Cool.
that sounds really cool. And then the little guitar splash at the little riff at the end there. Did
I did add ambience, if that's what you're asking.
yeah, can you can we hear that dry and up a little bit?
Yep.
Yeah, I really want those articulations to cut through. I want it to sound kind of like slippery and gross, like super DI.
Yep. Give you a
I think
context.
that's super fun. I think that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's given a little more like Nashville, lick thing. I don't know. Cool. So
That one sounds perfect. The only guitar note now for these the main two, PC one and chorus one, is that so the guitar part that's gonna come in, and it comes in like EQ sweep into it. That is kind of like what I think of as like the main guitar part of the song.
Yeah.
And I just want that to, without like losing the groove or anything, I want that to just be like big and like a big old riff.
Yeah. Is that this one? It's kind of Becky, kind of.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I like the I really like the way that like particularly like the kind of like the low end and the guts of it like feels with the bass that's happening there. It's like I really like that part.
That's definitely cool. I got an idea. You like memes? This started as a meme and now it's a plugin, so. It's like a, like your 98 Toyota Camry AC or whatever.
I'm so curious. I can't see your plugins.
Oh, you can't see my plugins?
No.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, the live stream can, so.
Oh, sick. I need to tune into that. All right, where's this Toyota
Yeah. Just gonna try to get the guts out of it, you know? Yeah, sweet. Is that cooler?
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And then, if that's going to any additional reverb, can you just hard cut it when that little bass guy happens?
The Yep.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah. I kind of want that bass to sound like it's kind of like punching a hole in everything that isn't the vocals.
Yep. Absolutely can do that. We can even do, let's see. Da, 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 da. Let's see what happens if I do this. I just pulled any ambience that's happening right there that's artificial or like that I've added is cut.
Cool. Yeah, I dig that. I feel like that's I like it when it like sucks the air out of the room kind of just for a second, like.
Totally. I think that's a cool move for sure. Okay, sweet. What else?
These, can we just listen back through those one more time just to confirm? But I think we're good through these parts.
I reap what I sow. I reap what I sow. And I'm
the guitar stab in the middle of pre-chorus 1.
This one.
Yeah.
Or this one.
That one's perfect. The floaty stab is perfect. The other one, I feel like if there's more, if it could have a little more like low end to it, um, it's interesting. The first kind of guitar stab, it didn't occur to me that it was a little bit like Nashville picky until you said that. But like you're absolutely right. This one is way more. From here on out, the stabs are definitely supposed to feel kind of more of that like I don't know what's the guy's name? Charlie, the guy who plays on the D'Angelo records. Just like real baritone-y, real like kind of snappy with the right hand on the fingers. And I think if I'm thinking back, if I'm remembering correctly, I think that maybe the original stem I gave you was like a composite stem. And so if you're taking off any of the low end from that first, okay, if you're cutting any lows from this guitar, I would say don't change what you're doing to the first stab.
Yep.
But
I'm following
maybe
you.
this stab and future stabs will all be fixed with more lows. And I think similarly, just a little more dry, like so really get like the finger articulation.
Cool.
Yeah. My Strat is stranded in Philly, so none of this is the Strat. But like what I would do is kind of like the first one I'm thinking like kind of pick up position 5, and then for this one I'm going full neck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, that sounds cool. And then if you want to just actually jump to the future instances on that, I think just make sure. But I think
Sorry. Yeah.
I think
Totally.
I think that I was possibly about to ask for the same thing on the next stab, if I didn't already.
Yeah. Now I might need to come up a little bit more now.
Yeah, I think just volume on that one. That one sounded. Yeah, perfect.
Gotta check the next couple of these too to make sure we haven't done something crazy. It's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, those are great. And honestly, those guitars are all chops of the previous riffs.
Yeah. Sweet.
So yeah, that sounds sick. I guess then I have a sort of a question for you about just everything we just listened back to, the sections. More like, I guess, like me looking for a note from you. So I have spent like so much time with this that it doesn't like sound chaotic to me. Like it doesn't to me. I'm hearing a lot of cool vocal stuff happen at once, but it doesn't at all feel too scattered or incoherent. But I have listened to it at this point like a million times, and I'm curious just as more of a, you know, slightly objective third party, like, are you hearing, like, there, you know, for these first couple sections until verse 1, there isn't exactly like a central vocal idea, but I'm trying to flow with the chops to kind of make it not be too distracting. And I just,
yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of the challenge. Mix a little bit, like make sure all of those moments pop in the right way. But I think we have enough grounding elements to where you're allowing yourself to have like a little bit of a looser leash in terms of like your ability to be like have a lot more stuff happening, you know, like we're still grounded with like, even though the bass is also like you know, it's still like kind of hitting, and you've still got like this grounding element to where you're able to kind of paint out of the lines a little bit more. Like nothing ever feels like to me it doesn't feel like, at least right now in this state, it doesn't feel like I'm confused as to what I'm listening to or where I'm moving with it, you know what I mean? We can listen to it again with that in mind though.
I think because I feel great about how like the balance is hitting and how everything's sounding. I think that's just like what I really want to ultimately accomplish with all of the songs is I'm always trying to like not have it be complicated for the sake of being complicated. Like I like that the song is coherent, and like I could do, I mean, it could be played on an acoustic guitar. Like that is still like, I don't live by that rule, but I still try and like keep that in mind. And I just I want to make sure that at no point it's like, oh, there's like so much going on here that there's actually is there nothing going on here. Like I want there to always be something to, like, for the layman to sink their teeth into, you know. I want there to be like tons of stuff. If you want to like spend the time with it and like hear all the layers, then I want that to be there for you. But like, I'm not trying to do like super crazy progressive stuff for the sake of doing it. You know, I want the song to really remain intact.
Totally. Yeah, no, I don't think you're doing that. I think everything, it feels cool, to be honest, but
cool.
But yeah, that totally makes sense though. We'll listen to that section just with our, you know, thinking caps on real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, life, death ain't the same. I got feelings in the pain. I got feelings, won't complain. In my heart, I feel the pain. Been pumping through my veins from the memories you gave. It ain't never been the same since the day you passed away. I just gotta sing the pain, singing be the way I pray. Freedom used to be my name.
Oh, that rips. That's sick. Ain't nothing with that.
So right before we go into that verse, when Tulani says or yo, I forget if it's or yo, but it's the one that's like totally out in the open.
Totally. Yep.
Can you try the thing that you did with the bass, where like it dries out completely just for like that word to punch through?
Yep. Absolutely can.
So, like that the moment is kind of, like, I feel like it is so like cool that like I didn't put that ad-lib there. Like that's what he did there. And I just thought like he did a million, and there's a million high energy ones too, but like I just like that, like that moment is like kind of begging for like a yell or something, and he just like sounds like so cool, like he doesn't give a fuck, like so sick.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, yeah, let's find that.
I dig that. Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's I think it's a cool contrast point to kind of what you brought up earlier about like the sections that like flow nicely into each other and kind of feel very like liquid. And then I also like to do like this just feels like the hardest pivot in the song, and like we're going somewhere totally new for like just a sec. Yeah, I like that one a lot. It's dope.
Hell yeah.
And okay, so I think if this verse, if I remember correct from this verse, I guess the next, yeah, the next chorus. I don't really have like any notes on sections other than like just sort of question you kind of about the vocal balance and how many ideas there are, because here I definitely do kind of get a chorus, you know, and also a lot going on, so I just want to make sure it's like coherent and sounds like mega huge, which it largely already does to me.
Yeah.
And that's I guess similar question to before, just like despite all the layers and chops and stuff, are you hearing like a big chorus? Because I want you to be hearing a big chorus.
Yeah, I think so. I think I definitely think so. I feel like yeah, I feel like we're really like landing in that chorus, and even then like your chorus has like a lot of momentum into the rest of like the end, you know, of your song. So I feel like it makes sense, you know.
Dude, I was ready to go to start bouncing stems. I was ready, and then I was just my man wanted to do like couples and some more abs, and he came over for 2 hours, here for 2 hours, and tripled the amount of vocals he had initially given me. He wrote this entire chorus and the whole verse. Like I was almost like this. Like there was my weekend. I have to like make this into a song. Thank you. Like it was just wild, but. Yeah, thank you again for being so patient with me on STEM week, because he gave me all of this.
Dude, it's okay. That's how it works sometimes. So, I mean, I'm really happy that everything that went with it, you know, I'm really happy where it's evolved and where it's sitting right now. So, yeah.
So,
sometimes you gotta chase the dragon, chase the ghost, you know.
You have to chase that dragon. But yeah, so for these sections, like if we just hear them in like really the I think the thing we've already. Once that I'd say come back in, like that is sort of addressed, I feel like that'll I feel like we're pretty much on these sections.
Sweet. Let me commit some of the things we've done real quick.
Cool.
Take like 1 minute.
can we listen to pre-chorus 2 and chorus 2 specifically for too much going on in the vocal?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, dude. I mean, I felt like everything felt appropriate. It felt grounded.
Yeah, that I think particularly in the pre-chorus, that's the section I am just very aware of how much time I've spent with this song and working on it, because like I'm realizing that like I'm literally able to like I can very easily process like his two totally different vocal parts happening at the same time.
Yes.
And I think they weave in and out of in each other weave in a really cool way, but like I'm just trying to check myself here, because like I think I'm hearing them even if I'm not hearing them. Like my brain knows what's there, so it, and I can just see how coming to this fresh might be like, yo, pick an idea.
No, and I feel like I tried to technically like work with that, like the timbre of each line is shifting through that, so that you have like these vocals placed slightly different, like on the like sound stage, but also just like timbrally, so you're not like getting two vocals at the same time, kind of feel you're getting like two instruments happening together, so
yeah,
definitely worked on that a little bit in the mix, and just the way we approached it, but yeah, no, I think it sounds good, and that's like kind of also like a very fun classic, like I feel like early aughts thing,
yeah.
So
yeah,
and I love that. I'm a sucker for that.
Yeah, that's it's interesting too, because I feel like with even though it all sounds like Tulani, I do feel like I'm able to like really like shout out to Little Altar Boy. Like I'm able to put so much more of him than I would be able to otherwise, because I can just change it up just enough so it doesn't hit exactly like one more vocal thing, and then I can get like 700 instead of 7. It's sick.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that's all sounding really sick. Can we just quickly the drop into chorus 2?
Yes, the bass drop.
Yeah,
Or just
I
the
wanna,
drop in general. Yeah.
just that transition. I don't necessarily think I have any notes on it. I just want to. I'm realizing that that's the one kind of. I think that's the one like moment we have left that we haven't really addressed. And when we passed it last time, I was reminded that you added some stuff to it, and that it sounds sick, and I just want to hear it again.
Just a little.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I could hear is like you could probably automate a little movement for this fill riser thing that's happening. You already have it in there, I can tell, because it's building.
Mm-hmm.
You could see what it sounds like to push it a little more if you wanted, but I don't want to go out of bounds.
Yeah, can we push the riser just a touch, and then like very similar note to the swirly guitar earlier, the extra kind of vibe that it feels like is building with the guitars into that moment. Can we hear that real quick?
Yeah, you have yeah, so we can definitely let me oh, you know what? Hold on 1 second.
So I really I like that that tone that's coming on. That is that Echo Boy on there?
It is. Yep. You caught me.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And yeah, similar to that other moment, I think I want it to get kicked out of the way instead of fade out naturally. And I feel like because this one's kind of a double drop. Like we have the actual drop, and then we have the that moment.
Yep.
And I feel like having maybe the second one, like in the bass, the 1 2 3 on 3 and on the end of 3 and 4 and that bass, if maybe that could like punch out the wets.
Yep.
And also be like the end of that guitar noise. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Like this time, like we do get like the natural the natural sort of descent of that echo, but like it gets squashed too, and then we don't hear from it again.
Not that button. Where's this button?
think that's pretty cool.
I agree. I think it's sick.
Can you play it one more time?
Yes, I can.
Are you currently automating on Echo Boy? Are you currently automating the mix?
No. This is a mix. I was just bypassing it completely.
Cool. Or I mean here, like as your that automation upward, that
might mix in, yeah, near the end, yeah.
Cool. Can we just not get all the way to 100%? Like I really love the reverb sound, but I just don't want to lose the tail end of the and I think it's.
We'll do something like this. That up. Yeah, good call. Yeah, that kind of like knocks it off, right?
Yeah. All right, I'm going to throw something out there. So we have with this drop we have right. As this is whether it's because that. I forget if there's a long enough sustain at the end of that guitar part to actually do it with the part, but it could also like that. Does that riff sustain over that bar?
It doesn't. It looks like it's hard edited off.
Cool. So then this would be just a thing that what I'm thinking would have to be either like a stretch of that note that I end on, or a print of like the reverb tail. But like with that first drop, could we have this also like collapse in pitch?
Yes. Yeah.
In a
totally.
in a very like artificial way, kind of.
Yep. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna print this. Okay, sweet. So with the delay throw, it does kind of extend over, but we want it to kind of, yeah. Let's see if I do. What will I do? I will do this.
I don't know if this makes any if this resonates at all, but this feels like an Ableton-y move. I don't use Ableton, so I don't know,
right.
but this feels like the type of thing that would be super easy in Ableton.
Absolutely.
I don't know why I think that, but
Yeah, I feel like Ableton has like a very loose relationship with time.
yeah, maybe I should be using Ableton because that's me.
Yeah, I mean Ableton is sick for sure. All right, come on. I think Melodyne's like, what the hell do you want me to do, Loca? You got it. You got it, Melodyne. It's like, this is not a vocal. This is a guitar that's gone through some crazy stuff. If this won't work, then I'll do it a different way. But I think we're getting somewhere.
It's interesting. I don't really know enough about like formants and the different the different things happening within these plugins to understand why, but I've been I do like obviously a ton of pitch shifting and formant editing with like the vocals and stuff, and it's interesting how particularly in Logic, like pitch shifting in Logic just is sometimes like so incredible, and other times on certain audio it just like it just doesn't, it just sounds terrible. It just like it's like the file falls apart sometimes or something. It's interesting, and I find that too way less dramatically so with Little Alter Boy to a degree. Like sometimes I'm surprised at the way it ends up doing what it like I almost never shift the formant upward. I very rarely go above 0. I like to drop the formant,
Yeah, totally.
But then just occasionally I feel like I'm doing way the opposite, even on like a different take from the same vocalist. I don't know. It feels like something in the zeros and ones that I don't understand. But.
Yeah, I get that. I don't know if this is the right move. There's like that, but then there's also, I mean, there's like the classic, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Real quick, with that edit that you just made, can you have it end at the end of the, I think this is back to like a volume automation, like end at the end of the bass drop as opposed to having it getting kicked out of the way by the next one.
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. Hold on 1 second.
1, 2.
Timing work.
It should cut on 2.
Okay, 1. On 2. 2. Yeah.
Those are yeah. I think that should be.
No, sorry. If it's on 2, it would be 1 beat earlier. Right?
Or I think you got it right before.
Okay, perfect.
And that cutting there, but with the pitch drop,
Yep.
that could be sick.
That much? I also need to drop earlier, or you know, so it only drops on the last beat. So that'd be, you know what I'm saying? It's going.
Yeah, I think I like it. Can you put it back to how you just had it, and then can we just hear it in context?
Yes.
I think it sounds like a little silly, just like way out, just by itself. Like I feel like it's a vibe.
I think it's cool. Yeah.
Can
another option? Sorry, unless you know for sure something.
No, I think that okay, that feels like nearly perfect. Just needs to be nudged back a touch. If it could just end like a second, like a not even a whole beat.
Perfect. I got you 40 milliseconds. I can keep nudging it back too if you want me.
Yeah, can we keep going? It's sounding sick. Can you play that one time?
It's like hopeful, right?
Yeah, I think it is very sick, and I really like how it's lining up, and I can't. I feel like it needs like it's just a. I feel like it's almost gelling with the bass in a very sick way, but I'm not sure.
Well, the bass drop might just go in too long too, you know. Like bass might be getting off when the.
So real quick, can I hear your bass drop and how quick it goes down relative to mine? Yeah, I think
that might be the ticket, right?
Yeah, I think if the one you added, it just goes down a little quicker.
Is that clear? I think that's clear.
Yeah, that sounds pretty sick to me. That feels like that was the missing link right there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually it maybe even just like a touch longer.
I'll do this. I'll just flip my fade.
Yeah, it really feels like it's gluing nicely there.
Hell yeah.
I think that is the final note. I think
Sweet.
so.
Well, let's print this off. Let's get it to you, so you can kind of listen to it, in all the ways that you need to listen to it, and then we can always revisit this. But yeah, that's sick. Okay, yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna make this mix 3. Any final words?
I just wanna thank the people. I wanna thank Rick Rubin.
Yeah, hell yeah! Thank you, Rick Rubin.
Even maybe a couple months ago, I might have like extended to the joke, like I want to thank Kanye West, but I'm not even willing to.
No, you need to get some help.
Yeah. Huge
Take
thanks
a shower
to,
or something.
Yeah, huge thanks to Tulani. Shout out to Time Zones. It's probably like 5 a.m. wherever he's at, and I Yeah. We did have somebody tune in. My friend Jordan tuned in from Australia, which is sick. Meaning someone has viewed this on Saturday, June 14th already. Insane.
That's sick. That's sick. Shout out to Australia.
Shout out to Australia, yeah.
What we'll be doing this summer a little bit, so we'll be kind of back and forth a bunch, but yeah.
Very sick. Very sick.
Yeah, I built out
Very
a
sick.
mix suite up here not too long ago with some barefoot monitors and stuff.
Yeah. That's sick. Yeah, no spoilers for the stream, but like we should definitely mix one up there. And
Hell yeah.
like Rachel and Deanna should like garden, because Rachel like is like the flower designer of BUYFI. Those are florals behind me.
That's so true. Damn, that's sick.
And then we could do Friends of Friends Studio Doc Part 2, the Wisconsin location, the Bon Iver. Experience.
Honestly, that could be very fun. Yeah. That's a great idea.
We've
There's
mixed
some
it. Yeah. Also, sorry to just like invite myself to your vacation.
No.
But
The thing is, up here, there's tons of room. It's perfect. It's awesome.
Hell yeah.
That's the thing about it up here. You got space. You got room. I learned how to fish the other day. I caught a big ass pike.
Okay, what we talking? Fly fishing? We talking?
No, just whatever the whitest, simplest, standardest, whatever. I don't know.
With a bobber? Did you have like a?
I tried a popper, and then I tried something that goes down low, and you just reel it fast. I know nothing.
Okay, cool. No. Yeah, I've already exhausted the entirety of the knowledge I picked up as an 8-year-old at my uncle's house in Indiana.
Yeah. It was fun. We actually we got a couple bass and cooked them. Had a like fish fry. That was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
We've been foraging up here too, so making like pasta with like ramps that we've been finding in the woods and mushrooms and all kinds of shit. It's fun.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. I literally ate a Pop-Tart today. So, we're out here in the city. We're in the city.
Yeah, I know it. I'm
not foraging around here. I'll tell you that much.
You probably shouldn't. All right. Well, let's print this thing. We could say our adieus.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just like I don't know how or when this ends. Like, print that. Let's print it.
It's forever, man. This is where we are. No. Eventually, I'll end the stream, and then you can confirm it's ended on YouTube. But that's how it's gonna be. All right, cool. Here we go.
I reap what I sow. And I'm when heavy activity. All this food on my plate, came from that gold. You know this go, it gets bored. I ain't never fuck, I put down my soul. Had to wait, God, let me tell you where he go.
Everything I thought I chose, the one I chose. Wow, when I land on the ground, I'm 10 toes. Everything I thought I chose, the one I chose. That's why when I land on the ground, I'm 10 toes.
Whole food, food ways, get break, whole food. Until I'm great, whole food.
Wow. Hell yeah.
It sounds so sick. I'm so sorry to do this.
Do it.
I heard one, literal one vocal syllable.
That's why we do this.
The going into going into verse 2.
Yeah.
The very first I think might be unnecessary, but definitely is sounding weird post edits. And like as soon as I clocked it, I was like, listen to all of the rest of them. Like they all sound perfect to me except the very first one for some reason.
Yeah, it could just be the way the like clean vocals interacting with the not clean vocal. Let me try something.
That's perfect. And then at the last one going into the verse is the compressor is some little something sounds like it's getting like
like an instrument thing.
It's the it's something. Can you just solo that vocal real quick? I think I might have left in his breath into a thing that's not there anymore. Yeah, I feel like it's just some little or something.
All this food on my plate, can't go. You know this food, all this food on my plate, can't from, food on my plate, can't, food on my plate, can't from, you know this go. Food on my plate, can't from, food on my plate, can't from, go. You know, food on my plate, can't from, go. You know this go. Food on my plate, can't from, go. You know this go. Food on my plate.
It was natural.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Siri's talking to me. Okay, cool. Yeah, let me just punch in that. Give me a second. Still feel okay?
Yeah, no, it feels so great, and I'm glad that you were able to punch that, because as a Logic native, I was like, damn, about to make him listen to the full bounce again.
I'd happily do that.
It's also good though, because we now know, we now have like the only full playthrough that you did, sort of watermarked in a way, so if anyone does leak it.
That is true. And you could make this not like live until if you wanted to, no?
It's crazy that there are artists that would like be like a thing. Like they'd be like, oh, have you heard like the version? Like there's a version with an extra it's like it's crazy. Yeah, I booked it on TikTok like it's even stuff.
Yeah, I ripped this from whatever the hell. Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah, it's interesting. Thanks for being willing to do this live, you know. I mean, this is kind of a vulnerable thing, and I mean, I have like I've been doing these like live mixing sessions, not really with the artist present, just for the studio's Patreon and for that kind of thing. And it's always fun to be able to go back and reference where a song came from when it's out and hear that kind of stuff too. But it is, this takes like an ability to let go in a way that everybody has to do in art anyway, but being able to be vulnerable in this context like this is...
I appreciate you doing it and being down to do it. Like, to be honest, like this is the type of thing that like 6 or 7 years ago, like I really like would have felt like this is a part of the process that I like wouldn't want to let people into necessarily. And then just like really like the content that like musicians and producers like put out during lockdown out of necessity like changed my life and like allowed me to fill in all these production holes that like YouTube in particular is like just really like hit like it works with my learning style, whatever that is, like the ability to just re-reference, rewind, watch something 40 times, like the classroom environment was never like super ideal for me. And even when I did have the privilege to take some like audio-ish Pro Toolsy Logic-y type classes, like me by myself has always been where I've learned all this. And like as a it just felt like me like spinning knobs and like having fun and trying things. And then from like April of 2020 onward, it was like all of that plus the most unimaginable resources like straight from the mouth of the actual people that I listen to, and it's it was all stuff.
I agree.
Privacy is a myth anyway.
It's 2025, baby. Palantir has everything they need, or whatever. Sorry,
Hey.
don't want to end the note on that.
Yeah, just like, thank you for letting me share art and education, and it doesn't even matter anyway.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you, dude. I'm grateful we're we've gotten to know each other, and I'm excited to hear this thing in the real world, and yeah, excited for everything, everything you're doing.
Absolutely,
it's very cool.
Absolutely. Well, I feel the same. I appreciate it, and I'm super pumped to send this to Tulani too, because like he is a